Welcome to tonight's Check Swing podcast with the starter show, Coach Santa and myself. Well, y'all know who I am. It is MLB All-Star Weekend, and we are here to talk to y'all. Last week was July 4th holiday, so we didn't have a show, so we didn't meet up with y'all last week. But we hope y'all had a safe and fun holiday day and weekend, if you had the extended weekend. Miguel, you know how I like to start the show off. How you been?
Pretty good. Baseball summer is in full effect. Um, love the team that I'm coaching. Got a bunch of good guys. Unfortunately, the last two tournaments we were up 8-2 and lost both games 9-8. But it wasn't for lack of effort. It was just they're younger guys, so they're like freshmen slash sophomore, somewhere between there. So they're kind of learning how to win and how to overcome losing kind of for the first time. So, part of me, like I believe that you learn from your losses, and
Better.
you better, yeah. So I think the one loss though, I normally don't like losses, right? But I like it when it makes the team kind of like it forces them to come together. And instead of them like, bad mouthing of each other, they're like talking like, yo, this is what we got to do to get better. Let's work on this. So you're starting to kind of see those in spurts. And that's part of the development that I like, that I enjoy as a coach, is just to overcome those, those challenges and, everything.
Yeah, it can be fulfilling to see them go through that process and that progress. As a coach, it can be fulfilling. And as a coach, you'll be back home this weekend.
Yeah, going back to my original stomping grounds at MSI. It's kind of bittersweet though, because there's only one other person that's there who was a guest on our show about a year or two ago. Everyone else has kind of gone on to other things. There was a big transition within that organization, so it'll be nice to kind of step on the field one more time and you know reminisce about our wins and our first championship as coaches.
Uh, well, all I'm gonna say is take it home, take it back to Baltimore. Take it back to Baltimore. That's all I'm gonna say. Take it back to Baltimore.
And last thing I'll say is I'm really tired because if you notice behind me, the Pepto Bismol pink is gone.
Yes,
So
yes. And when we're having audio issues, you couldn't hear me saying that I like it.
oh yes, so I have thank you. Electric blue in the background with a little bit of the gold over the Coach Santa thing that my wife got me, with a little bit of the powder blue on the side, and I think I'm going to have pictures in front of me of motivating things.
Well, you do that. You do that. Um, we got a lot to talk about today. Well, we gotta some things to talk about today. I don't know if you saw the updates I put on the list, Miguel, but we got quite a few things to address today that I would like to address. This is the MLB Major League Baseball's All-Star Weekend. The game is going on right now, so don't turn us off to watch the game. It's a baseball game. You can check it out later. Let's talk about let's just tell what we're going to be talking about today. We have some sound from some resurfaced sound, I guess you could say, of somebody complaining about Philly fans, and we're gonna talk about that in a little bit. The NBA has introduced their midseason tournament. Interesting. I have some thoughts on that, and we'll see how that goes. I hate the current format of the home run derby. I've said it on this show over the past couple years, and I will continue to say so as long as it is under this current format. I cannot stand the home run derby, even though I watched it. I think I watched the whole thing yesterday. I don't like it, but I have a suggestion. And I think my suggestion is I think it would satisfy everybody. And we'll get to that in a little bit. Um, if you watch the 10-7 show here on New Twist Radio on Sunday nights at 7 o'clock, there's a segment called Would You Rather? And I have a would you rather question for Miguel, for Coach Santa, that was posed to me by a viewer. So I'm going to pose that question to him. Unfortunately, I wanted to pose it to you before the show, so you wouldn't have to think about it once I asked you on the show. But give me your first reaction, and then if you think about it a little bit while you're giving me your first quick reaction, then we'll talk about it.
The original reaction is always the right one,
That's what you say.
Except for when it comes to food.
Okay. You'll have to explain that to me.
Like pineapple and pizza. Oh yeah, that sounds fantastic. It's the most disgusting thing. It's like putting tires on cheese.
I don't mind pineapple on pizza. I don't
Are you
want a
serious?
whole lot of it. I don't want a whole lot of it on there.
You're one of those guys?
You've never had a Hawaiian pizza?
I have Hawaiian pizza. It tastes like you know that you know how your breath or your mouth tastes after a really big vomit?
Yes, because that was me last Tuesday. I had a kidney stone.
Oh no.
Yeah, last Tuesday night I got a kidney stone.
I'm so sorry.
What a doozy of a night that was for me.
On your birthday?
That was quite a way to finish the birthday.
You sure you weren't
No, I wasn't.
Oh man.
I wasn't. Wish I could say I was, but I wasn't. But like I said, it is the All-Star weekend, or it is the All-Star break for Major League Baseball, and the Phillies have two representatives in the game, Craig Kimbrel and Nick Castellanos. And we may make some mention about that. The Phillies have put a pitcher on the injured reserve list. Again, we'll talk about that, and we're going to talk some Phillies. Let's just put it that. There's a lot of Philly stuff that's there. We're going to talk about where they are right now as far as things are concerned. But let's take it there. Let's start with that. Being the break, they're halfway through. They're sitting in third place right now. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, at the break, were they not also in third place last year? Or were they in second?
So there's a couple things going on. So I think there was a stat about maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago that showed their record this time a year ago, and it was the exact same record. So,
oh really?
Yeah, it was like when they were 44 and like 35 or something. They said this was exactly where they were at 1 year ago today. So. And that's with, Harper still kind of working his way back. That's still with, one of our lefties going back on the injury list after coming back off the injury list. It seems like the Phillies are ready for another kind of prime run, but I like this run a little bit better because Kimbrel kind of has surprised me in a good way. And Castellanos is more than surprised me, almost hitting 300. So I think those two things alone, I think are just good surprises, I'll say.
Yeah, I think the best surprise out of the two is Castellanos. Because he came in with so much expectation last year and did not live up to it at all last year. And this year is like he's turned it around. He's found his groove, and he's doing what he was expected to do when coming to Philadelphia.
He should have never bought the Ben Simmons.
No, shouldn't have bought Ben Simmons' house. Shouldn't have bought it. Had bad juju on it. Mm-hmm. But now we just need everybody else to follow suit. We have quite a lineup. We probably have. I don't know where you would rank them, but we probably have one of the best batting lineups on paper in the league, right? With Real Muto and Schwarber and what's the shortstop's name? I'm brain farting.
Trey Turner.
Trey Turner, Castellanos, Harper, um, all the guys. Like we have a quite a good lineup, and like last year, people were saying we probably before the season started, like yo, they probably got the best lineup in the league on paper. So to me, right now, for the Phillies to be in the same spot that they were last year, and they were supposed to have done things to revamp the team and make the team better, it's actually disappointing. Now we all know baseball is a very long season. They're halfway through the season. They go all the way to October, so they got 3 months left, right?
Mm.
Um, but it's disappointing for your team to be in the same position they were last year, and you are supposed to have bettered the team, and you're supposed to have such this great lineup. Um, and you see teams that are just tearing like you saw them. They swept the Rays, which were one of the best teams in the league. They get swept by the Braves. They lose 2 or 3 to the Marlins right before the break. It, it's they have the genes of a third place team. They win some that they're supposed to win. They win some that they're not supposed to win. They lose some that they shouldn't lose at all. And I would say they don't lose some but they really don't. They lose games that they're not supposed to lose. Miguel, your assessment uh, as far as them being in the place that they're in, same place that they were in last year, and let's not forget when making your assessment, you said that they would not make the playoffs. So we're talking about last year. How do you feel right now this year, the Phillies being in the same place they were last year?
I feel better about this team this time around than I did last year. However, I Schwarber, I mean, he's batting 184. But he does have the 22 home runs, so his home runs are timely. It just seems like that's all he can do. Trey Turner is starting to come around lately, but he got off to a really bad start. He even got booed by his mother. Yay, mom. But I think it gives other people a chance to step up. Like for instance, like Christian Pache, who was a trade from the Oakland A's, who doesn't know
Oh, he
anything.
was a trade. Okay, I didn't.
Yeah,
I
we
didn't.
got it from Oakland. He was either a trade or they waived him and we picked him up. But
Okay.
he came in, and this is kind of a sign of how good the coaching staff is. Where, I mean, he wasn't hitting anything, and they made like 2 small adjustments. He went down to the minors, fixed it, came back up. I think got injured briefly. Now he's starting to cover off the ball. I think he had that game-winning home run in Tampa Bay in the ninth inning, the second or third game against Tampa Bay, and just torched it. But now he says, I feel like now I'm ready, um, to make it in the big leagues. Another pleasant thing is Bryson Stott. He's pretty much our leadoff hitter. He's hitting 301. He's hitting lefties almost as good or better than he is with righties. Um, Derek Hall is back. He's pretty much the replacement for um, Reese Hoskins at first base, and he homered yesterday in his first game back, or the couple days ago, his first game back. So I
And a
think
shot too.
it was a shot, yeah, and it looked like the pitch was in his heels. Bohm, although I'm still not too keen on his defense. I mean, he's batting 280 with 9 home runs, so he looks like he's the real deal. So it's like the young guys are starting to um, turn out as projected. Um, the draft was this week, so the Phillies are funny because they usually draft one. They usually draft 2 players. They draft each either a pitcher or a shortstop. I think the Phillies have like 85 shortstops in their minor league system. I think what they do is they just figure, okay, well, you're a shortstop. That's usually the toughest position with the best arm, and if you can't do it, then you're going to be the catcher. I don't know. Like Carlos Ruiz was drafted as a second baseman. They're like, you're going to be the catcher. Um. So yeah, I
Turned out
see.
to be pretty damn good at behind the plate too.
Yeah, he sure did. Um, I'm still not too keen on Nola. I think now is the time to trade him. I would trade it for the simple fact that he's not an ace. I don't believe he's an ace. I think he is what he is at the age of 30. He is what he is.
He's
Um
30.
he's 30.
Wow.
And I think they got him for this year, maybe next. I think they might have an option on you, or this may he may be going into free agency after this year. So I think now's the time. I
Yeah,
mean,
there
he's
was some talk. I heard some talk about him like going to probably command a lot of money.
I
on
wouldn't
the
put it.
market.
I would put more money into Zach Wheeler because I think he's the proven commodity. But I would trade Aaron Nola now because I think
Zach Wheeler's older than Bone, right? I mean,
yeah.
than Nolan, right?
Yeah, but it's like now it used to be that you never got a pitcher, you never signed a pitcher to longer than 3 or 4 years after he goes over the age of like 33. But you see what Verlander commanded and he's like 42. You saw what Scherzer commanded and he's like 35. So it's like I think that myth is starting to be dispelled, especially since baseball now is like so bullpen heavy. You have your 5 starters, but they're only going like 5 or 6 innings. Then you go into your specialists. So I think now would be the time. I would trade him maybe for some future for a potential prospect at a position we may need in the future. But I think we're pretty loaded in the minor league. I was really disappointed that we didn't get Trey Morgan in the draft yesterday. Tampa Bay got him.
I was disappointed we didn't get Kevin McGonigal.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Shout out to him. He was actually on my team in the All-Star game that I was coaching.
Oh yeah.
If you look on my Instagram, he's right behind me in the picture that I posted on there.
Nice.
And actually, his uncle used to be my mechanic.
Small world.
Small world, right there on McDade Boulevard in Darby, right across from the Crab Tavern. He had the spot right there. And
world.
Yeah, great mechanic too, man. I miss him. I wish he didn't stop working on cars there. So I didn't catch. I think you did say you were kind of disappointed about them being where they are.
I'm disappointed, but like, did
you expect it?
I want to say I expected it because of the fact that Turner and Schwarber were doing so bad in the beginning. If you look at like patterns, right? Whenever you sign like free agents, like a lot of them, right, over the course of a couple seasons, not all of them pan out. Like if you look at like the Dodgers in the 2000s, I mean, they went out and got like the Lionel Shields and a whole bunch of big names at that time. The Orioles kind of did it too when they got like I think they got like Eddie Murray back, then Bobby Bonilla at the time towards the tail end of his career. So it's like when you can't always buy championships, but you get the right mix of players. And I think I'm starting to kind of grow weary of Schwarber. For the simple fact that like he has great at bats, but to bat 184 with 22 home runs. And you still lead off occasionally. I don't know. It bugs me, but Trey Turner.
Let's put it like this: him leading off, I'm assuming is not his call. Somebody's putting him, whether it be the manager or the general manager, is putting him in that leadoff spot.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to do something a little different today. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, I'm going to give you my suggestions of the home run derby. Are you ready for that, Miguel?
Sure.
All right. We'll be right back. All right, so we are back here on the Check Swing Podcast. Sorry about that. Had to take care of a few things, make sure our notes was all together some of the next couple segments, and make sure everything was clear. Uh, uh, before I go into the my suggestions for the home run derby, you have a video showing how bad some of the umpiring has been over the last couple of weeks. You want to talk about that real quick?
Sweet Jesus. That is.
Oh, was I supposed to do that yet?
That's fine. You can show it.
Strike 3 called, and that was never a strike. But
3.8 ERA and a save, and a called strike 3. That is.
I was watching that game.
Burley right-hander. No.
confidence up. Late movement.
Hey, the pitch. And strike 3 is called on Donovan, who can't believe it.
So yeah, if you look at that number, 928 missed calls.
And those like strikes and balls that goes into the nine. That's got to go into because that's a lot of almost 1,000 calls.
Right. So the reason why it kind of piqued my interest because there's it's the battle between the purists of baseball that we don't want the game to be completely digitized and whatnot, but then this is the argument against it. You know what I mean? Part of me is like, we need to have, there's nothing like when you're at a ballpark and you see a really good argument. You know what I mean? So I think that's the element that's kind of missing nowadays with instant replay. I don't know. I always like seeing a good argument, where an umpire and a coach are kind of going at it and throwing hats and gloves and stuff. But it's not helping the game when umpires are missing on a routine basis. I don't want to say that they're easy calls because, you're trying to judge a 98, 100, 105 mile an hour split finger, you know what I mean, with a lot of movement. Mm-hmm. But there's got to be a way to either make these umpires better, or I don't know, maybe
as much as I would love to get in and rag on umpires. And as much as I love seeing the square up there, the superimposed square as the strike zone up there, mm-hmm. I think what people need to understand about baseball and baseball umpires, and I've never officially been an umpire. I've umpired scrimmages and practice. Umpiring is not an easy job. Okay, it's not easy at all. But what I would like to see with some of the videos that you've shown me, and you're not going to be able to show me, I want to know if the umpire was consistent with the calls they were making. So the one game on there that I told you I was watching, Nick Castellenos struck out. Mm-hmm. That strikeout was his first at bat.
Okay.
And he struck out on his second at bat, I believe, as well, on the same call. If I'm not mistaken, it was definitely a ball. I think it was a low strike. It wasn't a strike according to the box, but it was a called strike 3 and it was low. And the coach in me wants to say, okay, that was a bad call, but he's been calling that consistently. Make the adjustment.
I see what you're saying. And actually that's what I tell my guys, right? So we always do this mantra in the beginning because sometimes, you get the kids that like, if it's a strike, they'll look dead at me and be like, come on. I'm like, come on. Like, so we always say, if the umpire calls it a strike, everybody says in unison, it's a strike. So yeah, there is some adjusting that has to go on. Mm-hmm. I agree. But
I feel like, and I don't mean to cut you off, I feel like professional players generally have an issue with adjusting at the plate.
But it's not just professional. It's kind of starting to weed its way into like what I've seen in high school ball. I've seen a couple teams that we faced that are really good teams that did make adjustments, and it's something that we work on. And you know, I find that a lot of the athletes, like, they know what to say. Like, they know. One of my pitchers came up to me after he had a bad start. He said, "Coach, I know what I'm doing wrong. I was pronating too much, and I should have origamied, and stuff like that." And he was using all these terms, like all these baseball terms. But I told and it sounds kind of harsh to say, but I said I think that a lot of our players suffer from performance anxiety, and I say this because we had a play where I believe it was first and third, so it was a line drive to the outfield, and our first baseman, no, it was second and third. So this first baseman goes over to get into the position for the cutoff, and our outfielder kind of threw it backwards to first base, but there was nobody there. He wasn't the only one that did it. I think a couple plays later there was another play where the only play was the obvious play, but they threw it to a base that was unoccupied. So I was telling them, like, you have to kind of think actively and presently. And I think that's where the adjustments take place. But I don't think that a lot of the coaches or a lot of the players that are trained to just mash, they just want to hit the whole ball as hard as they can, strike out, be damned. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's why like a guy like Schwarber is batting 184. And I know that, batting average is not necessarily the thing that, it's really like, OBP and, everything like that. So there's other stats that like have, I guess, more meaning. But I think it's kind of a tell that with batting averages going down and the game's getting longer, or before all of the clock stuff started, batting average has gone down for the first time in almost 60, 70, 80 years, and the game's become unwatchable. So I think one has kind of something to do with the other. Because I mean, when you look at something as simple as batting average, 300, somebody's batting here at 300, that means that you're getting a hit 3 out of 10 times, right? But if a lot of players are being taught just to kind of mash and launch the ball out of the park, think about it. That means Schwarber, who's batting 180, is only hitting the ball, what, 1.5 to 2 times out of 10?
Almost.
And I want to say the other 8 or 9 times he's striking out. Like, how is that watchable?
It's not for him.
Right.
When you're looking at somebody that you're looking for them to hit the ball and hit the ball hard, and they're not hitting the ball.
Right.
It's not watchable. But something you said earlier stood out. You said, they teach you to mash the ball. They're not teaching kids how to be baseball players anymore.
Right.
It's all about math now. When it, just to shorten everything up, it's all about math now.
But it's about math, yes, but it's really about gimmicks. There's an Instagram thing that I subscribe to, and there's this I think he calls himself like the certified hitting guru or something like that. And he's calling out a lot of quote unquote trainers. And some of these things are like, okay, well, I can see both sides to it, but some of them are just outright outlandish. Like, some guys are using like a PVC pipe and putting it around their neck, and they're only swinging like this, and they're using like bicycle chains to like, lift cactus plants. It's just there's just so many weird things, and I'm glad that he's calling it out, because some of it is just that. It's just gimmicks. And I know this is kind of old school, but when you look at something like the memes about like Tony Gwynn that are out there. I believe he's the greatest hitter of all time between the innings of the 5th and the 9th inning. It's something like he bats like 360. So he's very successful late in the game when it's crunch time. People that are analytical is like, oh, that means nothing. You know what I mean? Because it's almost like it's bad to get a single or what. Like it has to be a home run or a walk.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
The way that the game that the teaching the game now at this point has been, the game's going to be unwatchable in 20 years.
Well, I mean, and I hope that's not the case. But if you notice, even the changes that Major League Baseball has made, they know that the game is in bad shape. They're trying to make the players go back 20 years. Because why else would you make a base bigger, right? And make the distance between bases smaller, because you want to increase run scoring. Because they realize, wow, these guys are all trying to hit home runs, but they all are garbage. So
everybody's trying to home run. It's all about launch angle, lift. Even in the home run derby last night, they were talking about the launch angle. I think it was, I don't remember if it was a Rose Arena or somebody else, but they were talking about it was coming down to like his last 20 seconds. He was like, nah, that angle's not going to be good. It has to be 36 or more, 31 or something like that. He was at like 30-degree angle, and the exit velo was like 101 or 98, and he needed to be like 106, something crazy like. But they mentioned that it was what's my man's name that's on?
Was it Eloy from the White Sox?
No. I'm talking about the announcer that said it. It was his name escapes. His father was played baseball. Oh man, what's his name? And it doesn't matter what his name is, but he's on baseball coverage. And I was actually shocked that he was talking about that. I've never heard them talk about the exit velo and the launch angle, but I also never saw or never even realized that if they did show it, they were showing that on every ball that was hit.
Yeah, that's
during the home run derby.
Yeah, that's not new. That's been around for a bit.
Okay, I never even noticed it before. Didn't notice it. But speaking of the home run derby, I've been vocal that I do not like the current format. I don't like the bracketology of it. I don't like the 3-minute rounds. I don't like it. I just don't. I think it's hard to watch. It's not fun to watch. And they need to change something about it. Now, why did it come about? Because like 3 years in a row, guys were hitting like 40-something home runs, and they just ran out of time on TV. It was taking too long. And I get that. So they changed it to a format. You get 3 minutes. You're playing against somebody. If they hit 20 home runs and you hit 25, you win. In the next round, if somebody hits 6 home runs and somebody hits 13 wins. But I have the change that's necessary for the home run derby, and I need everybody. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put it on Threads and Twitter and all like that. Bang my elbow. That hurt. Oh, that was
TV. That's live TV.
I heard a crunch too when I hit it.
That's your arthritis.
Ooh, that hurt. Here is my suggestion for the home run derby to make it watchable again. Eliminate the bracketology of it. Eliminate this person versus that person. Eliminate that. Okay? Completely. Eliminate that. You can keep the 3-minute rounds in the first round and the second round. In the final round, you go back to the 10 outs. And all is well with the world. All is well with the world there, because now, when they get to that last round, yes, they are hitting a lot. I think Vladdy Jr. hit close to 30, if not 30, in the finals, and Randy Arozarena hit like 21 or something like that. Which 3 minutes, but Randy Arozarena was gassed. Okay, completely gassed. you get when you slow it down in that final round, then you get the real technical aspect of hitting a home run. Right, you get that technical aspect of it. When you're doing it for the 3 minutes, you're swinging at everything, just trying to get as much out as you can.
I got you.
Right, okay, and that's fun if you're there seeing it, but on TV, it's not watchable anymore. Right, because I can remember back in the day, they would hit it, boom, you're watching it, and you're seeing, and they show the camera angle from behind, and you're watching it launch, and you're like, oh, is it going to get out? Is it going to get out? Oh, that's definitely out, and then it like lands in the infield. Lands in the outfield. Right, you can't even tell anymore.
Right,
like all of a sudden you just see the number changing. Like, oh, what ball was that got out?
Right,
they got to change that. The bigger bases and the pitch clock. They got to change the home run derby. What do you think of that, Miguel? What do you think of my suggestion?
I like it, and it's a start.
Just to start.
It's a start. I think that what they should do, on top of the home run derby, that should be like the grand finale of like the day's events. I was watching something. There was an all-star game. I want to say it was like 85.
Okay.
It was in Candlestick Park. They actually had the all-stars instead of a home run derby at that time, because I believe the first home run derby was like 88. They actually had a skills competition. So you would have like outfielders. You had like Eric Davis versus like Darryl Strawberry, and they had to almost like with that Fred McGriff video. They had to try to hit the baseball. They had to throw the baseball into like the garbage can at home plate. The catchers had the catchers got timed for like pop time, stuff like that. But I think there's a fear of injury doing those kind of things.
Yeah.
Because the All-Star game is in the middle of the season and not at the end of the season.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
I would agree with that.
But you got the skills competition in basketball, right? You got the 3-point, you got the dunking, the 3-point. In hockey, they have the skills competition with goalies and stuff like that.
See, in hockey, I can't speak much on hockey because I haven't seen it in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Basketball, their skills competition is relatively low impact, right? A freak accident will have to happen for somebody to get hurt, right? The probably most dangerous thing is the dunk contest.
Mm-hmm.
3-point contest, yeah, you could tweak a knee or ankle shooting the ball, but that's just everyday bad. Like, you're not going to have a basketball on the basketball court and not shoot a shot. Baseball, you're throwing the ball from the outfield into the infield. Even though you're doing it every day as a baseball player, there's always that chance that something could go wrong in the elbow, in the wrist, on the shoulder, whatever the case may be. It's always, and I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm just saying I think there's more of a chance to get hurt in that competition. And in the I think a pop time competition would be kind of boring because I don't think the casual fan understands pop time, or even probably never heard of pop time. But they got to have something for the catchers to do. I think that would be cool to have something for the catchers to do.
I would have the best catchers against the best runners and see how many times, and see if we can get thrown out.
That's definitely something there. But you would have to find a way to make that fun. But we could discuss that. We could figure that one out. Because somebody's got to pitch. You know what I mean? And when can the guy leave? Because you probably don't want your starter pitching.
Right. Just have your the guy that that pitches the guys that pitches BP. Have one of the assistant coaches.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is when you're on base and you're stealing, you're looking to take off as early as possible.
Which is
now you're saying, when does the runner get to take off? Because the BP pitcher ain't throwing 90-something miles an hour.
Right, and that's that kind of, yeah, I get what you're saying. But just like they kind of tweaked the home run derby, you could do the same thing, with this particular.
Yeah, you find some things out. We find some things out. I want to move on to the would you rather question for Miguel. Like I said earlier, if you watch the 10-7 show on Sundays here on New Twist Radio, Sundays at 7 o'clock p.m., you know we have a segment called Would You Rather, where we give you two situations and say which one would you rather be a part of. And I have one that was given to me by a viewer, and we're going to talk about this real quick. Miguel,
Sir,
would you rather, in a perfect game situation, would you rather be just two outs? Okay. Would you rather be the fielder the ball gets hit to, or would you rather be the batter on the opposing team with two outs?
oh, I'd rather be the fielder.
Would you rather be the fielder?
Mm-hmm.
So I said from a competitive standpoint, I'd rather be the fielder. From a competitive standpoint, because that puts pressure on me to make sure I make the play.
Right.
From a non-competitive standpoint, I'd want to be the batter. Because if I don't get on base, I didn't do anything that anybody else on my team do today.
Right.
You know what I mean? Everybody else did the same doggone thing.
Right. We all sucked the same today.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank God I've never been in that situation in either one of those situations to be the final out of a perfect game or the final out or field the final out of a perfect game.
So I was a part of two no-hitters.
Okay.
One in middle school for my travel team tournament and one in high school. So I made a diving stop in middle school that kept the no-hitter going. And in high school, it was weird because it was a in between hop. You know how there's a hit the guy who goes full swing, and the ball was like up, but then it kind of died in front of me, and then it kind of like spun in the dirt.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the second bounce, it came up and then hit me like boom boom, and the runner was safe at first. So my pitcher, who was really into stats at the time, he kept yelling at the person keeping the book. That's an error on him. I'm like, well,
oh my God.
I was like, thanks, jackass. I'll take the error for your stupid no hitter. So I actually took the error.
I hate people like that.
I took the error for his no hitter. I mean, it. Should I have played it? Probably, but it wasn't as easy as he made it out to be.
Mm-hmm.
You
playing third base?
I was at first base.
Okay.
So it was a humpback liner. It hit the first base cutout, and then it spun, and I was going to where I thought it was gonna go, and then it went back. So it went like boom boom, and then hit off my hand, and he was coming over to cover first base. So yeah, it was definitely, it could have been scored either way, but he went right to the scorekeeper and was like, "That's an error." But
how about you just keep him from hitting the ball?
What'd you say?
So how about you just keep him from hitting the ball?
It's all right because I pitched BP batting practice. I think I hit him in the kneecap. So I think I made it. I think
you do it on purpose.
I cannot. I vaguely
say no more.
No habla English.
Say no more. You don't have to say anything else. I already know. All right. Got a couple more things that we want to go over real quick. But one of the things that we want to talk about is why do they hate us, Miguel? No one likes us and we don't care.
So here's the thing about the hate we get, right? The hate that Philly fans get. I think as of now, I think it's people that just want to jump on a bandwagon and want hits and want, they want people to join their stream or to do whatever. Because I never heard of this guy prior to, his rant on Philadelphia sports.
No, I probably wouldn't have a reason to hear him. I assume. But what we're talking about is this guy. Let's just play the sound. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Problem with Philadelphia. This goes back to my original problem. Oh, our fans, we're tougher than anyone. No, you're lower life scumbags more than anyone, and I'm sick of it. We've perpetuated this. It's okay to be a dirty, crappy fan in Philadelphia because that's what Philly fans do. That I'm so sick of it. If Niner fans did this, okay, you know what they would file it under? Thugs. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
You know why? Because our fan base looks a little different than the Philadelphia fan base.
Yeah.
Believe me, I've been to both stadiums. All right? I'm so sick of this. We do this thing with Philadelphia fans. You don't know what's coming for you. What? A bunch of low-life scumbags cussing and swearing and throwing things at people?
Yeah.
Like, I'm so sick of it. And you know what? Good for Debo for hanging up on him. Screw Philadelphia.
So they just really like
this is all going back to San Francisco still feeling butthurt about us completely obliterating all their quarterbacks in the championship game. That's all, you know, they're still butthurt.
like they just knew that they were going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like it was kind of like how San Diego knew that they were going to the World Series. They just knew that they were going to the Super Bowl. And Mr. Shipley.
For the record, Mr. Shipley is a Cowboys fan, so he probably agreed.
Oh, I remember.
You remember him?
I remember Mr. Shipley. How you doing, Mr. Shipley? So first of all, like I said before, we're from Philly. No one likes us. We don't care.
Mm-hmm.
He's talking about like a select few, and it's only Eagles games where those types of things are said to happen.
Right.
And I'm going to say that there are only Eagles games that those things are likely to happen unprovoked. Okay. Because I've been to Phillies games where those things have happened, but they've been provoked.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sixers games, it doesn't happen. Flyers games, I don't think it happens. I remember when I worked for Network down there, I went to many Flyers games. I worked many Flyers games, and I've never seen. I mean, they would get booed in the concourse if you're wearing like another jersey.
Mm-hmm.
You would get booed on the concourse, but I never saw anybody, get messed with at a Flyers game, at a Sixers game, and only when provoked at a Phillies game. Matter of fact, I went to a game last year against the Mets, and the dude I was sitting next to was a Mets fan. Ain't nobody, we was chatting it up, nobody said a word to him negative. I was, outside of Mets suck and all like that, but that comes with the territory. Like you said, the people in San Francisco, and I'm not even thinking. I'm just saying the people in San Francisco because I don't even feel like it's Niners fans that are not in San Francisco. I've not heard anything from any Niners fans that are not in San Francisco. San Francisco Niners fans are butthurt. They are, I don't know what to call it. I don't want to say yuppies, but we're talking about San Francisco here. We're talking about a I don't want to say a privileged group of fans, and by privileged I mean I don't want to say privileged because that's gonna make people think I'm talking about like they all got money and they snobby and all like that. That's not what I'm saying. When I call them privileged, I mean that they've won multiple championships out there, multiple football championships, multiple basketball championships. They had Barry Bonds for God's sakes out there. They had Tim Lincecum out there. You know what I mean? They got one of the most beautiful ballparks in all of baseball. And they
also have
no one cares San Francisco. No one cares.
They also have one of the worst. It's one of the best places to live if you're homeless. I will put it that way. I'll put a positive spin on that. But it's one of the one of the most growing, up and growing cities because it's expensive. California as a state
Very.
is expensive, extremely
Very
expensive. Matter of fact, go ahead.
I was talking to a former college teammate of mine who lives in that area now, and he was telling me about how expensive it is to live in San Francisco. He wanted to he's from North Jersey. He wanted to live in Oakland. Like San Francisco, he can afford to live in San Francisco, but he just wanted to live in Oakland because he just felt more comfortable out in Oakland and decent parts of Oakland, as opposed to paying so much money for no reason in San Francisco.
Yeah, I have one of my interns who I called him an intern, but he was one of my assistant coaches last year. Young kid, great. Noah, the kid I was trying to get on the show to do some stuff. He actually moved to San Francisco, and in order for him to save money, they actually have those hostels out there. So it's basically like these small groups of people that are just, hey, let's go in on a house together and we'll just rent these rooms and stuff. That's like the growing trend. Like the housing market is like shot in California because everybody's just buying houses together in groups almost, or living in an apartment. But even the apartment game is like it just shot through the roof. And if you remember Bryce Harper, he was making the decision between us and San Francisco. And in order for him to make the same money in Philadelphia, San Francisco would have had to overpay him by about $25 million to cover the taxes that he would get charged. So so San Francisco's like, we can't do that. Philly's like, come on over.
They were going to pay him more because of taxes.
Because of the real estate taxes out there.
So Mr. Shipley put this up a few minutes ago. He said, "I don't agree with the dude though. What's up? Honestly, I have not met a Philly dude I didn't like. Y'all like losers, but hey, to each its own."
That's very passive aggressive.
We don't necessarily like
No. That's very passive aggressive, Mr. Shipley.
So we don't necessarily like losers. We just don't jump on the wagons of winners. We don't do things like that.
Very well put. We don't go out every year wearing the jacket of the current champion of every sport. Not to say that Mr. Shipley does anything like that, but of course he's a Cowboys fan, a Yankees fan, a Lakers fan. And he roots for University of North Carolina. I'll give him a break. I'll give him a break. Matter of fact, hold that thought.
As he walks into his blue abyss. As you can see, the nicely painted background that he has behind with the baseball. I told you not to play ball in the house. Got the baseball breaking through the wall there.
So I gotta shout out one of my former players. This kid was on my 2013 team. He sent me a heartfelt letter. He actually got accepted to the University of North Carolina.
Nice.
And he had texted me one day. He's like, "Coach, what's your address?" I was like, I got to be careful, whatever. So he actually sent me this.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah, he's a great player, great family, real hard worker. He says he's not sure if he's going to actually play for the Tar Heels, but at least he may play club ball.
Okay.
But I'm biased because I love the baby blue and the navy kind of mix. So I've always loved their jerseys and colors and whatnot, and they just so happen to have a pretty good baseball team over the last couple of years that will make the tournaments and stuff. So
go Heels. Go Heels. Speaking of Heels, Ryan said burn it. He's a Duke fan and a Yankees fan.
Well, you Yankees fans are harsh.
Yeah, they
All
are.
right, I'll do this for one time for Mr. Shipley. He suggested I put it on for the kids, even though it doesn't match.
Hey, look at that! Look at that! I wasn't rocking with the Drexel jersey anymore, but I definitely rock it. All right, so one quick thing that we're going to mention before we get up out of here. The NBA has introduced their midseason tournament. It's called the NBA Cup, and it's going to go down. Basically, I'm not going to go into all the details because we're running out of time, as Miguel just left me for some reason. I don't know. But the tournament itself is going to involve all the teams in the NBA. All the teams are able or eligible to win this tournament. All teams will be involved, and it does not include the team. It doesn't include the division teams. What it includes is pool play. It includes a lot of pool play, and then and the winners of pool play go into like a Final Four tournament, winner take all, one game, blah blah blah. Miguel, have you heard about it? Have you?
Can you start that whole thing again? Because I actually left the studio.
Yeah, I know. I saw and I mentioned it, but the show got to keep going. I said I was talking about the NBA, how they introduced their midseason tournament. It's called the NBA Cup. The teams are not grouped as from their division groupings. They're grouped in a different way based off last year's regular season. So you got your Eastern teams, and they're not necessarily in a group with their division, and then you have the Western teams, same deal. And the winners from each group, they enter into a They enter into a Final Four tournament with 2 wild cards. So I believe it's 6 per side. No, 1, 2, 3. I don't know how many it is, but y'all can look that up. But Miguel, good idea, bad idea for the NBA. Does the NBA really need something like this to boost their game?
You lost me at NBA playoff format. I don't think that.
But but the funny thing is, it's funny you say that because it's more like a once you get to the playoff tournament portion of it, it's more like March Madness because it's one game.
I mean, I get that, but I don't think that the NBA needs that. I think if there's any sport that needs, I'm kind of barking up this tree, again. I think it's baseball that needs something similar to that. They just need to play less games, and you shouldn't be. I just don't think you should be playing baseball games in March, and I don't think you should be playing baseball playoff games in November. Maybe have a play-in month similar to like they do, double elimination in like the month of like from like the last half of September to like the beginning of October. Then you have these playing games or whatever the case may be. I'd like to see more playoffs in baseball where it's needed. I don't think you need it in any other sports.
That's interesting. I think in baseball, I don't know if this would help, but it would kind of help what you said. If they don't decrease the amount of games they play, schedule more doubleheaders, and then give them breaks and give them longer days off in between.
I want to see Major League Baseball players get screwed like they screw these high school players. And I want to see them play a triple header, damn it. There's no reason why.
That's a lot.
Well, there was one tournament we were in New York last year. In order for us, we played pool play for was it Friday and then Saturday, right? It was 4 games pool play, 3 games pool play. And in order for you to win the championship, you had to play 4 games in one day. And I'm like, this makes no sense. Absolutely no sense. It
wasn't that the deal in the tournament that we won? I mean, we didn't have to play 4 games.
No, we
were
got a
number
bye.
one seed.
We actually
got a bye, but the
Right.
other teams that played had to play
3 games. So the team that we played for the championship had to play 3 games.
that day.
Yeah, they were gassed, and they had they had the guy, they had the 6'8", 320-pound guy that I think they ran out of jersey. He was wearing like a medium, and I just remember every time that he pitched, and when he would come over the top, you saw his belly button. I was like,
He did throw hard though.
yeah, he was pretty hairy for a 16-year-old,
But
but
15-year-old.
But I mean, they were all Latinos from New York, so like they all had beards. 2 of them were my mechanics, but it was just funny that
He could say that because he's Latino.
exactly. No one else can say that, especially not Mr. Shipley. But I because I think it was a conversation we had when we were at MSI about how, you know, we're trying to train our pitchers with good arm health, but then when you have these tournaments, it doesn't. They're telling us about arm health, but they're not really they're not following what they preach. Because again, if I want to have my best on a Sunday, for instance, I gotta still throw part of my best on like Thursday or Friday, and only throw them for like maybe 20 some pitches, and then, you know, give them a day
and
off.
hope I get into the opportunity to use that person again.
Right. So yeah, it's just
those things lend themselves to the teams that have everything twice the amount of everything that they actually need.
Right.
I hope that made sense. It made sense in my head when I was saying it. We're gonna get ready to get up out of here. Miguel, you stumping me today?
I actually am not.
Okay, well, I'm going to stump you today as soon as I can find it. Here it is. All right. So we're gonna bring this on over here. Come on down, so I can put it up on the screen. And what page would you like, Miguel?
Huh?
Pick a number between 1 and 10.
13. All right.
I can wait a minute. I can get to 13.
No. You said 1 to 10. Let me be obedient. I would choose the number 7 since it is the number of completion.
Okay, and choose another number between 1 and 10.
I would choose 8 because that's the number of
I'm going to
moving forward.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, here we go. If you will. What baseball player? Oh, wait a minute. Let me put it. I'm sorry. What baseball player was inducted into the Hall of Fame for inventing the curveball? Your choices are, as you can see, Bobby Matthews, Candy Cummings, Fred Goldsmith, Fonny Martin. Don't know that name.
Yeah, some of these sound like B-movie porn names. like Saving Ryan's Privates. Let's see.
Who you got? Bobby, Candy, Fred, or Phony?
Sounds so dumb. Let's go with Candy.
Candy Coated Raindrops. Let's see. Is that correct? That is correct. Author Candy Cummings won election to the Hall of Fame by claiming to have invented the curveball, but some historians believe another hurler, perhaps Bobby Matthews, was actually the first. So congratulations.
And also co-starred in the film Forrest Hump.
I wouldn't know. I don't know. I don't know. No, I don't know. I don't know. All right, we're going to get up out of here. We appreciate y'all hanging with us right here on the Check Swing Podcast with myself and the starter show, Coach Santa. Coach Santa will be here in the area this weekend, so go check him out at the MSI baseball fields as he brings his Rawling prospects in to the Philadelphia area to bring home a championship. All right, and tell them New Twist Radio sent you when you say.
And
Right.
if we don't win, Mr. Shipley has volunteered to buy all of our people watching cheesesteaks.
Sounds like a plan. I'm all for it.
Thank you, Mr. Shipley.
Thank you, Mr. Shipley. Appreciate it. Well, we're going to get up out of here. We appreciate y'all hanging with us on the Check Swing Podcast. We'll talk to y'all next week here at the same time. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Is New Twist Radio. I'm sorry. YouTube.com/New Twist Radio. Once again, that's YouTube.com/New Twist Radio. Subscribe to the channel. Oh, and go to the all new. I meant to mention earlier. Go to the all new newtwistradio.com. The site has been relaunched. You can go there. You can go to Check Swing Podcast and check out all of our shows there, the live shows, the podcast shows, because our show is on your favorite podcast platform. So you can go there and check it out as well. Mr. Shipley said, thanks, gentlemen. Go Rawlings beat Philly. See, that just strikes a chord in me. So, and he also said deal when it comes to the cheesesteaks. And Ryan said free cheesesteak and crumble cookie. It sounds like he's paying. All right. Sounds like a plan. All right.
Beautiful.
Like I said, we out of here. We'll talk to y'all next time here on the Check Swing Podcast.
Deuces.